Hi everyone, welcome to Blue Collar Hockey Talk. My name is Wes. I'm here with my co-host Scott. We got a lot of stuff to talk about today when it comes to the Toronto Maple Leafs and the NHL. Everything from the game in Lake Tahoe to injuries with the Leafs, what Mike Babcock is up to. One of the biggest players in the game had a big milestone come up. We're going to talk about how the Maple Leafs did in the past few games, as well as we're going to go back into the Leafs history. We're going to go into some dark times and remember when. How are you doing tonight, Scott?
But I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. We've had some pretty good points put up on the board. We got some point separation on the in the standings as Leaf fans, and we're still going to be able to tell you why we're going to talk about dark times in a little bit, Wes. Man, it's been fun though. It's been good times. Matthews is king right now. How you doing, bud?
I am doing great, and it's been amazing watching Matthews. He's just so consistent. Like we just have never ever had that guy on the Leafs, right? We've always been looking at Ovechkin or Crosby or Mario or um, like Wayne way back. Like we had Doug Gilmour in that one season where he had an amazing season, over 120 points, but ever since then we just haven't had this consistent guy.
Like in that last episode that we did, I kind of felt guilty when I said it's like it's Lemieux versus Gretzky, but I mean, one hell of a time to have that debate in that last
Mm-hmm.
show, bud. Because I mean, look at what happened after that. I mean, we'll get into it in depth later. I'll just touch on it for a half a second. But like, you've got a 4 point game. We watched Matthews come out after we were debating: is he him or McDavid? Matthews or McDavid? And he goes out and gets 2 goals, 2 assists. One hell of a game. And then McDavid, an hour later, steps on the ice
Yep.
and puts a natural Hattie and 2 assists himself for 5 points. We
Yep.
really do have Lemieux versus Gretzky, man.
I really agree with you, man. I think McDavid saw that and he was like, "Hold my beer and just look, watch what I can do." Cause I
And I'm hoping that people will put something down in the comments section here, Wes, because I want to hear what other people think here, like McDavid or Matthews, and
Yep.
why Lemieux or Gretzky.
Yeah, absolutely. But before we go further into that, let's talk about some of the Air Leafs. Like Jack Campbell, he was on the ice today for practice, but still unsure when he'll be back. It's too bad about him, and yeah, he's an awesome guy to have in the room, and like he is such a steady number two goalie. Not to take anything away from Hutchinson, but man, Campbell is a step up.
Campbell is signed to next year. Okay, and I'm happy about that. Campbell's a great attitude to have on the bench, even if he's not on the ice. And the games that he plays, I'm pretty confident when he's in that. Don't know about you, but I feel good, And that's not to say anything or not to say anything about anybody else. But yeah, it's good to see him back on the ice. But I want to. I'm looking forward to seeing him on the lineup.
Yeah, me too. It's just too bad this season he won't be around for a little bit longer. Another news in the NHL, Lake Tahoe, man. I saw some pictures and I watched a bit of the game yesterday on Saturday, and it looked amazing. But that rink almost became a lake. It was such a sunny, beautiful day, and that is not the weather you want for a hockey game.
Like just kept delaying it and delaying it and delaying it. Hey, like I thought we were gonna have a midnight puck drop.
Well, that's what they did. It was midnight here, and it was 9 p.m. local, and Colorado ended up winning the game 3-2. Commissioner Gary Bettman came out and said, "We've done over 30 outdoor games. We've never had a problem quite like this." And it's like, you know what? 1 out of 30 to have a problem, that's a pretty good record for the NHL to have when it comes to these outdoor games.
Yeah, they know what they're doing, and I mean, I know that the ice surface, I like. It's a real shame that the game got any kind of bad negative to it because it's. I feel like the NHL got it right. Like, how unreal did that look? Can you imagine, like the that picture standing in the goaltending crease, looking out?
Hmm.
Yeah, it's beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, I don't know. It's pretty slick. Like you say, 1 out of 30 is not bad. They know what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the game on Sunday between the Flyers and the Bruins was pushed back just to avoid the sunniest part of the day, which it's smart by the NHL just to do that. And like, what's the worst that's going to happen? It started at 7:30 Eastern, I think. Like, that's not a bad time for a hockey game to start. People are after dinner. I think that's almost a better time when they had it scheduled for like the afternoon and for the East Coast. Like, whatever. I think it all works out in the end.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How about our boy Babs?
Oh yeah, former Leaf coach Mike Babcock. He's moving to Saskatchewan or back to Saskatchewan. He's going to be the
Well,
head coach of the
well,
University of the Saskatchewan Huskies.
you know, good for him. I mean, like, I think it shows that it wasn't an overreaction of people saying that he really has hurt his stock as a coach. And I mean, he's now coaching a Canadian university hockey team back. He's from Saskatchewan, right?
Yep, he's from Saskatoon.
So, so I mean, like that makes sense, and I hope that he does well. I hope that he learns just like he preaches for others to learn. I hope that he learns, and yeah, yeah. I mean, it's neat to see him try to get back in the game. I hope that it goes well, man.
Yeah, I think
I don't
it's
know if we'll see him in the NHL again.
oh, I think we'll see him in the NHL somewhere, man. Like it's a bit of an old boys club. Like he'll get another chance. It's not like he was horrible in Toronto or anything like that. And compared to what happened last year with some other coaches, some stories that came out about them, Babcock will be back. Like if Tortorella can keep getting, rehired and rehired, Babcock will be back. Um, and yeah, he did coach previously in university hockey in Canada. Like in 93 and 94, he coached at the University of Lethbridge, and he actually won a national title in his first year. So can't get better than that.
No, he's won on every level, and I remember hearing that, and I remember hearing that he had won that title. You're right, can't get any better than that.
Mm-hmm. And the last bit of news I want to talk about before we go on to the Leafs is Sidney Crosby. Sid the Kid has played 1,000 NHL games on Saturday night against the New York Islanders. Man, like I remember when he was the next up and coming thing, when he was the next one in like when 2004 when he made the World Junior team and they actually won silver that year. Like that seems like yesterday to me. I don't know about you.
Oh, I can remember the whole thing too. Um, like I remember seeing him coming up, seeing this name of this kid, and seeing I don't know, he just had this different look about him, you know, and he was magic. He
Mm-hmm.
was pretty special to watch coming up. I mean, I remember his reputation when he first came into the league was a bit of a whiner, but man, did that ever turn into the ultimate leader, you
Yeah.
know?
Well, here, let's go over some of the things that he's done in his career. So, like I said, he won in 2004. He won the silver at the World Juniors. 2005 won the gold medal at the Juniors, which was probably one of the best junior teams Canada's ever assembled. That was the North Dakota World Juniors when like Dion Phaneuf was on that team. I don't think they were ever trailing in that whole tournament. Right? That was amazing. I remember vividly watching that. Then later that year, he's drafted first overall by the Penguins in 2005. Like, geez, his career stats are crazy. 468 goals, 810 assists, 1,278 total points. Man, that I don't think we appreciate him enough, in my opinion.
No, man. I mean, like you look at some of the stuff that he's done. I mean, like the gold medals and at the Olympics, at the IHF, like his Stanley Cup appearances, man, like it like two Conn Smythes,
Mm-hmm.
like when we're saying that Connor McDavid maybe should be compared to Sidney Crosby, there's a lot that we
That,
were really not kind of taking into mind. But I mean, McDavid's got some time,
yep.
but that's a lot. That's quite the career. That's fantastic stuff.
Mm-hmm. And there are some things that Crosby had the opportunity to do that I don't think McDavid ever will have. Like in 2010 when Crosby scored the golden goal, there's not going to be a Winter Olympics in Canada during Connor McDavid's career. I wouldn't think, so that just won't happen for him. It could happen in the Olympics coming up in the next one in Beijing, hopefully next year. But man, like on home soil, of course it was Sidney Crosby that scored that goal and made the whole country go crazy.
Yeah, man. Get like yeah, Captain Canada right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like where the other things he won: two Art Rosses, two Hart trophies, three Ted Lindsays, two Rocket Richards, one Mark Messier, and the two Conn Smythe. Like you said, like it's like he could have retired in what 2010 and probably made the Hockey Hall of Fame. Hell, like he could have even retired in 2015 for sure would have been a Lock Hall of Famer. Like it's just unbelievable what he has done.
I'll post a link down below in our comments on this video. Okay, so guys, check out this video below. I'll tell you, there was a commercial that I saw, and I do believe that it was a Nike commercial that, and it was after Pittsburgh had lost the Stanley Cup final to the Detroit Red Wings,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember him, and I remember the picture of that team, seeing how dejected they were, like guys sitting on the ice, you know. And this commercial has it where you come into this still frame, and then all of a sudden Sidney Crosby comes to life, and it's him, and he does the commercial, and he just turns and he looks at all his teammates and he goes, "Man, I can't even tell you how this feels right now. This is the worst feeling that I have had. I I could either cower or I could use this as fuel, and I can come back stronger. I'm going to work hard and we're going to come back stronger." And he went back into the still frame. And
Mm-hmm.
that team went back and won the cup the next year. You
Yeah.
know, and that's Sidney Crosby.
Yeah, I think it's amazing because he lived up. He is living up to the hype. Like all that stuff when he was young, man. Like there's a lot of pressure put on these kids in any sport when they're chosen like number one overall, or when they're already crowned the next one, or they're gonna be this amazing stud and they're gonna win everything. Like he's done it, and it's like, yeah. I'm sorry, I can't think of any other word but amazing, but it is amazing.
How humble is he too, though? Like he is the most humblest of superstars. And I mean, I'm not trying to say anything against Wayne Gretzky here, but let's look at two different types of personality. You know, Gretzky, he ended up becoming, you know, the superstar in hockey, and he moved to Las Vegas. Ah, no, he didn't. Jesus, didn't I blow that? He moved to Hollywood, man.
Yeah.
He moved to Los Angeles, and that's where he met his wife. You know, and that's where he kind of started to set down roots. Where Sidney Crosby goes back to the East Coast. You know,
Hmm.
I think that it's pretty neat to see how much of his roots he's held on to, and he just seems like such a class act. You
Hmm.
know, I'd love to be around the guy, and no wonder he's been able to win 4 Stanley Cups,
He's won
or
three.
been
He went to
three
four.
Stanley Cups. I'm blowing this, dude. I'm
Yeah,
not a
no
Sidney
worries.
Crosby guy, but he kicks ass.
Yeah,
Long story short.
I do think like comparing him to Gretzky when it comes to like what they do with their lives, it's such a different, you know, the like different time, because like at least Gretzky, he had his own privacy, right? Like they weren't being watched 24/7. Like Sidney Crosby, man, like one little slip up in any type of personal life could just ruin him. And Gretzky was able to take his fame and have all these sponsorships and commercials and all this stuff. And Crosby has done some of his stuff, but he's also kept his nose pretty clean. And like, not to talk about air sports, but like look what happened to Tiger Woods' image, man. That went from hero to zero pretty quickly, and it took him a long time to kind of work his way back. So it doesn't take much, but man, you think of back in Gretzky's day, there were some guys up to no good, and they were still loved by their teams and their fans, right?
Yeah, yeah, big time, bud.
Well, how about we see
Well,
what West Coast Tim has to say about this Leaf start?
all right, let me get out of here. So this is the best Leaf start since 1935, and Matthews is the best Leaf in my lifetime. He's dangerous at both ends of the ice and can score in every possible way. And even at the end of the game, he was trying to get his third goal against Montreal and missed. He was still visibly upset. The way he improves his game every offseason, the way he leads this team, we are watching greatness here. You know, Wes, like, what do you think about those thoughts, man? Like,
I've been talking to a bunch of my friends about how Matthews is probably the best Leaf we've seen, and like it's not even a hard sell. Like he absolutely is. He's so consistent. He's been consistent since he got here, and if he's playing, like we almost expect him to score now, right? Or at least get chances. And he's always in the right place, and he fires off some shots that you're like, how did he miss, right? Because he's always in the right place at the right time.
yeah, man. No, I mean he. You got to think they've got 14 games they've won. He's got 6 game winners this year.
Yeah.
You know, like that's insanity. This point streak that he's on, this heater, um, he's on a he's on a goal per game
Hmm.
pace right now, man. And like, let's not just say that. Like, we're not just watching some guy with a hot stick.
Hmm.
Like this guy is on pace every year to be going well over 50 goals. Last year, if it was an 82 game season, I'm not unrealistic to say he would have been chasing 60. Forget about just 50.
Oh, probably
You
he
know,
had
he was
47 when they shut down, so he probably could have chased 60.
like we're watching some serious goal scoring touch here, and not just that. Like I saw all those defensive numbers again, like his stick checks. You know, his takeaways. Like he's top three in the league through all of these stats. Like two-way
Hmm.
player he is. We are watching the greatest player that I've seen. Like we're not talking about favorite player. People can put in the comments, oh, there was Wendell, oh, there was
Yep.
Dougie. Dougie was here for two fantastic years. You know what I mean? You had Wendell here, and he was an amazing captain. But like, let's seriously say he was an amazing captain through some. We had a couple of good runs, but I mean, he just played the style of hockey that we liked, but he
Hmm.
wasn't greatness. He
Hmm.
was just he was beloved, and and it was awesome to watch him. But Matthews, man, I love that his nickname is Mats.
Yep.
You know, talk about full circling it, because I mean, I always had it in my mind that Matt Sundin is one of the best captains of all time. Do you know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like in Toronto, and he is. Matthews, we're talking greatest Leaf of our lifetime, and we can have a discussion in a few years of all time.
Yep. Well, I remember a few years ago when the Leafs were celebrating their centennial season, and one of the radio shows I'm a big fan of, they were talking about how like there is no number one Leaf of all time, like period, that everyone thinks of. Like it's kind of still up for grabs. Like Wayne Gretzky will go down as the best Oiler of all time, and like Connor McDavid can't catch him, like no matter what. And there is no guy like that on the Leafs. And when you think about that, that's pretty crazy. The Leafs have been around for over 100 years, and like Matthews, Marner, those guys have the chance to be in like the top five Leafs of all time. Like if they end up winning it all at some point in their career, like they're gonna be regarded as like the Mount Rushmore of Maple Leafs.
100%, 100%, man. You know, and it's awesome to see it. Like Tim said, like when he missed that goal, like I like seeing him have this passion out there,
Mm-hmm.
and to see what he brings out of the other team too. Like, did you see in, well, we'll talk about the game with Montreal, but like there was a play where he took a shot, and Price, he made a glove save, and he like mic dropped that puck. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? They were going to a TV timeout, and he made that save, and he whipped that puck down, and he went to the bench. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like he gets in their heads.
Yeah, for sure. But before we get into more of the Montreal game, how about we talk about that Ottawa game? This was the statement game, I thought, of the series when the Leafs came out and it was never in doubt and they crushed them. It was 7-3. You know, Hutchison was in net, which was the third win of the year from a Leafs backup goalie, which is fantastic. It took a long time last year to get to that point. But man, the Leafs start to finish, they were just the better team.
Yeah, they were. I mean, they came out. They got their confidence back up. They were able to play their game. Ottawa finally kind of wasn't able to keep up in it. You know, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, Ottawa didn't play well, and Toronto did. Both things you can make an argument for. Go for it. Leafs played a great game, and I thought that it was pretty interesting to watch, and you know how they handled with Nylander and Tavares. It was nice to see them both get on the goal or on the scoreboard with a goal.
Mm-hmm.
But it was interesting to see that it was pretty obvious that Keith gave them a carrot. You know, said
Oh
here,
yeah.
play with Marner for a bit, right? Like let's get you guys a goal.
And why not, right? Like you want to get those guys going because you want to be a lethal team and you want to have multiple lines going. So I thought that was smart from his point of view, right? Just like put Marner out there. Marner seems to be the magic man that can play with anyone. So use what you have. And like this happened this week, and we're already overshadowing it. Matthews had a 4.9 then, 2 goals and 2 assists. Like just amazing.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. Like this, the amount of points he's putting up. I think I saw he's got 12 points in his last 4 games.
Yeah.
You know, like it's nuts, man. The points that are going up on the board. That 7-3 win was great. It's nice to see Keith coaching the team. You
Hmm.
know, I like to see how he's coaching the team. It's different. You know, it's refreshing to see him recognize, I think, things that need to happen.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
me. He doesn't fall in love with a third line guy. Do you know what I mean? Like he's moving players around where he wants to, and it was nice to see him try to get those guys going there.
mhm.
Because interesting to see how he came back the next one.
Oh, for sure. When they beat Montreal 5-3, which was great. And like Montreal had all week to kind of watch the Leafs. They're coming off the win last weekend against the Leafs, so they knew who they were playing. They had fresh legs. And Freddie made some amazing saves in the first period, right? To me, it was all Freddie was the reason why it was 0-0 by the end of the first.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree, man. 100% agree. I mean, it's nice to see him come out and play and make big saves. Key moment, like it was important to keep the game scoreless going through there. We didn't want to be going down and playing catch up because,
Mm-hmm.
well, we saw what happened in the second when we went up 2-0.
Yeah, like man, both those goals from the Canadians were just like results of turnovers, and that's just heartbreaking when you just see something like that, and it's just like God, like it takes no time at all for the Leafs to just give it back up, eh?
I know. It was just here, like, oh yeah, you want to turn it over? We can do that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it was a little sloppy there, man.
Mm-hmm.
But it was nice to see them not let themselves start falling down a hole, getting in bad habits for the rest of the game, playing, tighten on the stick. Like they
Mm-hmm.
looked like they were confident that they knew what they were doing. They were coming out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was good to see Marner get on the score sheet too. I think it was a pass from Matthews. They kind of reversed roles, and then Marner put it in for his ninth of the season. And like Marner's having a hell of a season too, man. It's so hard to not talk about him, but Matthews is just so far beyond him. But
Well,
sorry, go ahead.
you know what? They go hand in hand, man. Like
Mm-hmm.
they're going hand in hand. Like I mean, and like you say, Marner's not getting enough love for that because, um, like Matthews is a goal scorer, is a goal scorer, is a goal scorer, but Marner is a magician. He is a superstar, and he is one of the Leaf greats also.
Yep.
Like let's hold the thoughts here of like, hey, uh, Matthews is greatest Leaf ever. You're probably right, but Marner's getting in there for he's one of the greatest Leafs ever. Also,
Oh yeah, absolutely he is, man. Like he can do things. He can dangle and just get around guys. He is so slick with the puck, and he finds open seams. He has a hell of a shot. He just doesn't shoot enough. And thankfully, I think they've been in his ear this season to shoot more. So hopefully he'll end up with more goals this year compared to assists. But at the same time, just keep feeding Matthews. He's got the hot stick. Like Matthews had another 4-point night. Like I wonder how long it's been since a Leaf had two 4-point nights in a row. Like that's just like it's crazy to think that he's doing this.
it is. It is. That I don't know when the last time that is. I can't even come close to thinking it. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. I don't have a number or a name that comes to my mind. I'll tell you that right now. But I'll tell you who didn't get a 4-point night. I'll tell you who didn't enjoy that carrot that he was dangled. Like Keefe gave Nylander the carrot in that game against Ottawa
Yeah.
by saying, "Here's Marner," and he got that goal. But then, for the last 8 minutes and 45 seconds or so, Nylander did not take to the ice in the third period against Montreal.
Mm-hmm.
And I once again tip my hat to coaching the team. Like he gave Spezza a shift up there and he scored on that line. Nylander, um, take note, bud. And when they asked Keefe after the game, I thought that it was a very intriguing way of answering it. He just said, I thought that the team had really found and settled into a good way of playing in the third period. And I was happy with how they were playing. And I just didn't think that Willie was playing like that.
Mm-hmm. And I think it was
So
his game just kind of tailed off, right? Like he came out in the beginning of the game and he was on fire. Like he looked
he
great,
was.
and it just seemed to kind of get away from him a bit. And I agree with you, man. It's good on Keefe to bench a player when he's not playing well.
No, no, it's 100% right. Like I like seeing it. Hold accountable, and I'm not looking for people to be getting scratched like Patan and Levos, and I'm not looking
Mm-hmm.
for like Spedsas or anybody else to be getting these scratches. Like it's if somebody's not pulling their weight, I don't care where you are. Like because I think that Tavares is having his chances. He's playing good hockey.
Mm-hmm.
He is. I know he had that cough up a few games ago. So what? You're going to cough the puck up sometimes. You're playing against other great players too. Um, but yeah, Yeah, I like seeing Keith coach this team, and I hope that Nylander turns this around because I think that um, it, we've got a coach that's not going to put up with it.
Oh yeah, and I think you know what we're not even 20 games in, man. Like he has his opportunities coming. Like there's gonna be ebbs and flows to the season where everyone's gonna have their chances of doing well and not doing well, and it's all gonna work out in the end. I think Nylander is gonna be an important member of the Leafs for this season and for a few more seasons.
Nylander's a streaky player, man,
Yep,
and I think that you're right. And I think that in let's if for all we know, he's the kind of player that in 2 weeks we could be talking about the 6 goals that he's posted in that time.
that's it.
So and I hope that we do. Let's hope that we do.
Yeah. Well, man, we've been talking a lot of positive things about the Leafs, but I think we this is a good time to bring in our brand new segment, and it's called Remember When. So let's go into some dark times of Leaf history. Do you remember the 2011-2012 season at all?
I try not to.
You try not to, yeah. Do you remember who the coach of that team was? Like it's a while ago.
Well, I think that it would have been like Ron Wilson.
Yeah, it was Ron Wilson's last season as coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Like that season, on February 6th, they were in 6th place in the East with 61 points. With 29 games left, they only won 7 and only added 19 more points. Like that is bad. Like do you remember that?
I remember waffles. The waffles were being thrown on the ice, weren't they?
No, that's another year. That's years later.
Jeez, that's the time that I'm thinking of with Ron Horacek
Yeah.
and that 18-wheeler. We've had a couple of them, but I remember that time with Ron Wilson. I remember hearing the ACC chant "Fire Wilson" and seeing Burke take to the podium and say, "I can't have a person go through that."
I was actually at that game. I was at the time I was working as an intern for a radio station in Toronto, and I was at that game, and when they were chanting "Fire Wilson," it was like an eerie feeling, man, of like thousands of people. I couldn't imagine what it would be like to have thousands of people chanting your name for you to be fired.
They're calling for your head.
Yeah. Like
that's what they're doing.
Absolutely. And it was such a dark time. Like the fact that they finished 12 points out of the playoffs, that's almost mathematically impossible. Like only 7 wins in 29 games. That is worse than what Ottawa is doing right now.
That's wild, buddy. That's wild. I don't know. Yeah. Jeez.
I will say like there is a little bit of a shining star at the end of this. Because of that collapse, they ended up with the 5th overall pick at that draft. Do you know who they took in that draft?
5th overall pick would have been Morgan Rielly.
Absolutely, man. And like, think where would the Leafs be without Rielly right now?
Buddy, I feel like this Disturbed song, I feel like we should turn it off, but he's singing it to the perfect tune right now because of where Rielly came in. You know, like I'm with you, man. He really has catalyzed this, the change on the back there now. I don't know. That was great. You're right, but that was garbage times.
Oh, it was awful. And like I said, one of the reasons for doing this segment was just because like that reaction to the game against Ottawa was so overblown. And like compared to what we've gone through, like I think every time something like that happens, we're gonna have to bring this segment back because we have tons and tons of memories to go through. And I don't want to bring up the 4-1 loss because that's everyone's worst memory. We gotta pick and choose these.
Yeah, it's for sure. And if you guys have any thoughts or any time or any of your memories, put it into the comments as well. We want to hear about what your dark times were, because then we can kind of take a look at the standings right now. There's a 10-point cushion.
Yeah.
So that's pretty slick.
Exactly.
Yeah, enjoy the times. Like you say, that was unbelievable. The Leaf world got lit on fire after one loss, and we were in first place. And I remember going through road trips and playing in LA and seeing us get destroyed and hearing Jim Ralph tell us about how this is the low point. I've never felt this low as somebody that supports this team. Like we have seen dark times. It was
so tough that year, especially like Man, Dion Phaneuf was the captain. Like some of these names are just hilarious to think of. Like remember Joel Colborne was on that team, Tyler Bozak, Carter Ashton, Keith Ollie, Mike Brown was still around, Tim Connolly, Cody Franzen, who was probably one of our best defensemen, and Ron Wilson ended up getting fired near the end of that year, and that's when Randy Carlisle came in. So that is way back, but man, thank God, times have changed. It only took us what, like 10 years to get to something good.
And Morgan Riley has been through it all.
Yeah, yeah,
That
exactly.
boy bleeds blue and white. He
Yeah.
bleeds blue and white, and I know that he doesn't wear a C, but I call him Captain Morgan. You know, like
Oh,
he is my captain. You know, I hats off to that boy. Glad that he stuck it through. I'm glad that the Leafs stuck with him.
yeah.
And let's ride into these good times, man. What's next? What's next on the plate here, buddy?
All right, well, let's do this day in hockey history, man. So we're not going too far back. In 2019, Nikita Kucherov of the Tampa Bay Lightning, he scored his 100th point of the 2018-19 season halfway through the second period against the Buffalo Sabres. It's 100 points in his 62nd game. It was the fewest points needed to hit that mark since Mario Lemieux did it in 96-97 and that only took him 61 games. So Kucherov was also the first player in Lightning history to have multiple 100-point seasons. He was amazing that year, eh?
Yeah, he was. I mean, like he really. If you didn't know who he was, then shame on you because you certainly did by the end of that season.
Yeah,
Because he you had to take notice. Yeah. That's quite the numbers. I didn't know that that was his numbers. 162. Eh?
yeah.
Like that's dynamite. That's
That's
dynamite.
that's amazing, and like that is so hard to get to because there was a few years there, man, when players weren't even getting to like 90 points, man, not too long ago. So for a guy to get 100 points in 60ish games, like that's absolutely amazing, and it's very very hard to get to. So the last thing we want to do before we wrap up tonight is let's preview some upcoming games this week. So we have Monday and Wednesday. Calgary is in town. How do you think these games are going to go?
I think they're going to go good. I think that we're going to play good hockey, but I also think that Calgary is going to start playing some good hockey too. I think that we're going to see some good games. Kachuk, I wonder what we're going to see out of him. Are we going to see any? Like, I'm surprised, man, that we haven't had a bench clearing or see the intensity go up like with anyone, and it's going to happen, right? It's going to happen at some point. Um,
I don't know.
I I mean, I don't see how it doesn't. Like these boys are going to the rivalry. It's going to keep getting hotter. So I like seeing these back-to-back games coming up. I hope that Anderson comes out and plays a good game.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Calgary's going to come out and try to play a solid game too, though. Like
Yeah, I think so too. I think on Monday night's game, Calgary's going to come out really strong. Like they were embarrassed against Edmonton on Saturday night, losing 7-1. So they need to come out and have a statement game, and I do think they are going to take one of these from the Leafs. Like they're a good team, and I think they're underperforming this year. Like it wasn't too long ago when Calgary was number one in the West. Like I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, but still, like they're a playoff team year in and year out, so you can't take them lightly.
no, and I mean if there's a rugged team in the North Division, I feel like it's Calgary.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I think that they're the toughest team of them all, and that's where maybe it's not meshing so far, but. I think that they're going to be one of those teams that are fighting for that fourth spot. They're going to pick up points, and I'd be naive to think that they're not going to pick up at least a few points throughout this year against the Leafs. But I think the Leafs are playing with a lot of confidence, with a lot of swagger. I think that Anderson's feeling good. And, that top line, our power play, it's hot,
Mm-hmm.
hot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to these next games, man. I think that we're going to come out with some points.
Yeah, it'd be great. I do. Calgary can have all the hits they want because one thing I've noticed in the past few games, hits don't win you games, Scott. Goals
Whatever,
win you
buddy.
games. So
Whatever.
the Leafs have been outscoring all their teams. They've been crushing them, and they don't have enough hits. But hey, whatever. Hits don't win.
Hey, listen, you know what? I mean, I've got to eat crow where I've got to eat crow. I still will stand behind saying that I'm curious to see how this is going to play out. I've never really seen, I guess, a puck possession team like the Leafs, and that's what they are. Um, and they're really good at it. but they're also good defensively, but not so much in throwing, I guess, the checks. It's the stick checks, it's the takeaways. Like I said, Matthews is second, third in the league wide. So I'd like to see those stats. But when Keefe said that he had accredited that Montreal loss to maybe getting out hit because they were out hit 3-1 against Montreal. But then when the Leafs beat Ottawa 7-3, Ottawa out hit us 40-10. So we were out hit 4-1.
4-1.
So it kind of wipes out my argument and Keefe's argument there. So I don't know, man. I'm not going to sit on a high horse, I guess, and keep going the hits, because I feel foolish looking at that and seeing the games that we're actually looking well. The eyeball test, man. That's what we got to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And the Leafs looked like the better team. I don't care what that hit column said.
Yeah. I can't agree with you more, man. Like I said, hits don't win you games. Well, I think that pretty much wraps it up for tonight. So if you like what you see and what you hear, like, subscribe, follow us on Twitter. Our Twitter handles are scrolling across the bottom there. So I think that pretty much wraps it up for us tonight, eh, Scott?
Yeah, Wes, thanks a lot, buddy. And thanks, everybody, for watching. Look forward to the next show here, pal.
All right. Go Leafs, go.
Go Leafs, go.